Iron Man 2 is obviously the sequel to the original Iron Man. And honestly, this movie is just okay. I don't think this movie is nearly as good as the original Iron Man, but it does keep up like the same tone and the same, feel as the original Iron Man. This is still a more mature version of the MCU. Obviously, it's one of the first MCU films. I think it's the third one or the fourth one. It's one of the two. But this movie it's okay. I think Robert Downey Jr. does an incredible job. I think that Don Cheadle does an incredible job. Their chemistry together is really good in this movie, and obviously in the later films with the Avengers, they do an incredible job. This is the beginning of that. Honestly, this movie really is interesting because the first half of the movie I really, really, really liked. And then once Nick Fury started coming in and Natasha Romanoff, they were kind of, their role, Natasha's role kind of changed. That's when this movie kind of started to lose me a little bit. And, in the first half, I was like, this movie, the Monica scene and, with all the villain stuff, he looked pretty intimidating. I was like, okay, this movie is really good. And then it kind of started trailing off just a little bit as we get into like more Avengers thing. You see Captain America's shield, and the Avengers are absolutely incredible. I love all the films, but I don't know. This movie, obviously introduces all of that, and it's great, obviously, but it just seemed like kind of stopped the movie's pacing a little bit, in especially the middle. I will say I think the villain is better than Iron Man 1. I think both of them are pretty decent in this movie. And I will say the end fight is 100% better than Iron Man 1. It's bigger, it's more grand, at the expo, and you get Iron Man. And Iron Man goes through a lot in this movie. He's dying from the poison that's like going through him. I mean, he's going through it in this movie, and I think it's an okay movie. It's not really one of these movies when you think of the MCU that's like going to be the top one, but I probably give it a 6.8 out of 10. It's decent, not terrible, solid film.